Hello, welcome to Emotional Integration with Monica channel. Lovely to see you here today. Um, Today, the topic of our video is on habits. It's a powerful topic. This is where our life begins to change. It's not, for me, it wasn't when everything finally started making sense that things fell into place. It wasn't when I was completely ready either. And it wasn't when the fear disappeared. But it was through small, ordinary moments. A moment when I chose to cast a vote for who I was becoming. There's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he says that every action I take is a vote for the type of person I wish to become. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So it begins to rearrange how I see things, because suddenly it doesn't mean that life is shaped by one big decision or one breakthrough moment or through a perfect plan. It sounds more like it's shaped by accumulation of tiny, repeated choices. And those choices are powerful. Those choices remind me that I need to be conscious when I'm making them. I have to be conscious because I always cast votes. The way I speak to myself when no one is listening, in the way I respond when something feels uncomfortable, for example, in the way I show up or don't show up for my own life. When I stay silent instead of expressing myself. This one is very familiar for me. When I push through exhaustion instead of resting. When I say yes when I mean no. When I delay something that matters to me. So this is not just that I'm making a decision in that very moment. I am actually creating my identity. I'm placing a vote for someone whose voice is not safe, for someone whose needs are not important, for someone who cannot trust themselves to follow through, for someone who feels like it's safe, better to stay where I am. My habits, my patterns, my automatic responses are not the norm. They are just a result of votes I have been placing, often unconsciously, and over time. My identity, then, is not something I declare, but something that I vote into existence. I cannot just declare I want to be confident, I want to be successful, I want to be abundant, I want to be free. My identity does not respond to declarations, but responds to evidence. And evidence is built through repetition. I don't become confident because I say I am. I become confident because I repeatedly take actions that reflect confidence, even when it feels uncomfortable. I do not become someone who trusts themselves overnight. I become that person through small, consistent moments of following through. So, my identity is a pattern. And every time I act, I reinforce that pattern. So, there is a quiet power of small decisions. There is a tendency to underestimate small choices and to believe that real change requires something dramatic, a big leap, a bold move, a complete reinvention. But in truth, my life is not shaped in those big moments. It is shaped in the quiet ones. The moment I choose to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. I choose to rest without earning it. When I choose to speak honestly, even if my voice shakes. When I choose to begin doing my project, even when I don't feel ready yet. These moments may seem insignificant, but they are not. They are votes that accumulate over time. One vote may not change my identity, but a pattern of votes, a collection of votes, a collection of little choices that I make over and over changes everything. So if every action is a vote, then why is it so hard to change? I don't know about your life, but in my life, there has been a frustration. There was a frustration that I really had a dream, and yet I was procrastinating. It was like I was self-sabotaging, but I didn't know why and how to change that. I couldn't understand why I couldn't start placing those new votes and become who I wanted to be. And the reason for it is that my current identity is a system of safety. My nervous system is wired to maintain what is familiar, not what is expansive. And my identity has been shaped around beliefs like it's safer to stay small, I have to earn love, I'm not fully capable yet, I need to keep the peace. And then my system guides me towards behaviors that reinforce those beliefs. Excuse me. And not so when my system guides me towards behaviors that reinforce those limiting beliefs, it's because I am trying to stay safe. And this is where the compassion becomes essential. Because the habits I want to change were never my enemy. They they are my system's best attempt to protect me. So what I used to call self-sabotage, I now realize is just a form of self-protection. So I used to look at my patterns and I would think, why do I keep doing this? Why can't I just change? Why do I always get in my own way? But what if nothing in me is trying to sabotage me? What if every pattern is trying to protect me from something it believes is unsafe? So if a part of me believes that being visible leads to judgment, success leads to pressure, love leads to loss, rest leads to guilt. There were just some of mine. These habits were intelligent adaptations for my system. They are protecting me from experiences my system learned to associate with pain. So instead of forcing myself to change, a more powerful question becomes, what am I protecting myself from feeling? This is the most powerful question you can ask. Because underneath every resistance, there is a protection from feeling something, whether it's fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of abandonment. So every habit has an emotional truth waiting to be acknowledged. So most people try to change through force. They push themselves, they discipline themselves, they try to override their patterns. And sometimes, for a while, it works. But eventually, this deeper pattern returns because force does not change belief, it only suppresses it temporarily. So, real change begins where you move from force to awareness. Because when you begin to notice what I do, when I do it, what I feel before and after, without any judgment, without trying to fix it immediately, just seeing it clearly. Because awareness is what creates space. And in that space, something new becomes possible. It's this gentle welcoming of what's here. And in this moment, I would recommend journaling. Journaling all your thoughts in the moment of feeling stuck, an old pattern arising. Journal your thoughts. Journal what you're fearing. Journal what emotion you are resisting to welcome, to feel. So once you see your patterns, the next step is to place different votes. And you do it gently, and you do it consistently, and you do it compassionately. It's not to prove something, but to create new evidence. And this may look like speaking up once, even if you usually stay silent. Resting for a few minutes, even if you usually push through. Saying no in the situation that you would usually just say yes and sacrifice yourself. And starting something before you feel ready. These are not dramatic changes, but they are powerful because each one of them is a vote for a different identity. A vote for I'm allowed to take up space. My needs matter. I can trust myself. I am capable of change. And over time, these votes, they accumulate. And as your votes shift, something else will change. And that's your capacity. Because becoming someone new is not just about doing different things. Becoming a new version of yourself is about being able to hold different experiences, such as being seen, being supported, being responsible, being expanded. And these experiences can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. So growth is not just about taking action, it's about staying with yourself in a new emotional territory. Allowing yourself to feel what arises without running, without shutting down, without suppressing. This is what creates real, lasting change. And this is where I can support you as an emotional integration coach. One of the most freeing aspects is that you don't have to get it right every single time. Because it's not, your identity isn't shaped by one single vote. It's shaped by the overall pattern of your choices, little choices. So you can have days when you fall back into old habits, when you make choices that don't align with who you want to be, feel stuck, feel resistant or unsure, and still be in the process of becoming someone new. Because what matters here is not perfection, it is direction, it is willingness to return to place another vote and another and another. So when you step back and look at your life through this lens, something profound becomes visible. You begin to see that your habits are not random, your patterns are not fixed, and your identity is not permanent. You are actively creating your life, not all at once, but in small, quiet, consistent ways. And this is not meant to overwhelm you, it's meant to empower you. Because in your current life, the result of repeated votes is right now. Then your future life is being shaped right now, in this moment, in the next choice you make. Yeah, we see our results of our votes being placed right now. And only right now we have a choice to make different choices and create different life in this moment, in the next choice we make. So it's not about becoming someone completely different. It's just about becoming more conscious of who I am already practicing to be. And gently, patiently choosing what I want to reinforce instead. And it's not through pressure, but through presence. It, not through self-criticism, but through self-honesty. Because the more we see ourselves clearly, the less we need to reinforce anything. The less we need to force change. Change just begins to happen naturally. So right now, in your life, you are placing votes through your thoughts, through your actions, through your responses to what arises. There will be another video, probably soon after this one. How we place votes through our current responses to situations, people, places, things. Because that's powerful. So the question is not, am I doing this perfectly? Question is, what am I practicing into reality now? Because every small choice matters. Every moment of awareness matters. And every time you choose, even slightly differently, you are shifting something. You are becoming someone. Not all at once, but steadily, gently, powerfully. And one day you will look at your life and realize, it did not change because I forced it. It changed because my habits began to reflect a new truth. A truth I didn't just believe, but I voted for, and I lived it into current existence. Well, thank you for being here. I feel complete with this topic. If you would like to work with me, currently I have available coaching by donation for a limited time, and the details are in the description below. I'll be honored to work with you if you have a trigger, if you feel stuck, if you need support. I'll help you to uncover your limiting beliefs, and we can find new votes for our new identity, which, remember, is not permanent. Okay, I love you. Have an amazing day, night, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.